No, we're good. We're good. It's recording, right? You can keep it recording.
Yeah, it said it was recording, but I don't. Well, because the Fathom is recording, but then I want Zoom to record
Mm.
as well,
Oh
so I
wow,
can use it for the
they're
show.
not the
But
same thing.
no, they're
Oh,
separate.
weird. Mm.
But yeah, man, there's so much stuff we can get into as far as where this stuff is going because it's pretty much exploded in the last few months
Yes, yes. And we
since we
haven't done one
talked.
of these. Speaking of the last few months, for a
I know.
while.
Where have we been? People are probably like,
We always do this.
I think this is the biggest. I think some people were probably like, is it canceled? Is it
You
gone?
mean cancel? It's just phone calls.
I,
How we gonna, how we gonna cancel it?
I know. That's true. That's true. I think they were worried because that happens to me sometimes. I get,
Uh,
hooked on a podcast and then all of a
yeah.
sudden they stop coming out with episodes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Well,
Are they
I
done?
could see that, right? If it's a formal podcast, then yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
sometimes it's just a couple of guys or whatever, a couple of people that are getting together and they like a certain thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is a cool one. And then all of a sudden,
yeah.
no episodes for like 6 months. Like, did they? Because I mean, the way a lot of people start podcasts, it's just very casual and like, hey, we should start a podcast, and then
Mhm.
they start one, and then 5, 6 episodes go by, and they're like, hey, what about that podcast? Ah, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, I got work,
I got
kids,
things.
I just got things,
Life. Life
yeah,
got in the way, yo.
and that's
You know what I'm
exactly
saying?
what happened with us. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but yeah, it's been
Dude, I've been so
since
busy.
I feel like since February.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I've been so busy. And just I'll tell you offline what's been going on, but it's
Yeah.
truly the last 3.5 going on 4 weeks. I have been working like packed hours.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like serious work, like
Mm. Yeah.
overtime type
Wow.
stuff. It's
Wow.
I look like doing overtime, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Ain't you a remote worker? How'd they get you to
Yeah.
work?
w- You
How'd they
know,
get you to work overtime?
when,
They reach
when,
through the computer and grab you?
when have I ever done overtime? I
I never.
never. Yeah, I
This
don't
man
know.
does not work overtime.
I don't work overtime normally. I get
Undertime.
in
Undertime only.
efficiency, man. I get in, I
Efficiency.
get out.
Exactly.
Right?
No over.
I pay my dues. It's like, all right, master.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
see you
done.
tomorrow, master.
Yep. I'm out. Hey, good luck.
Yo,
Ah, that's funny.
4:59. I'm looking at the clock. 5 o'clock. I'm going. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not quite true, but oh man, I've been working like crazy. And so anyways, whatever. Like I said, I'll catch you up on what that's all about.
Mm.
But what's going on, man? What's happening?
Um, well, I mean, it would take too long to go through the last 4 months. I'm not gonna do that to our listeners.
Yeah.
But just yesterday, actually, my wife and we hosted Japanese students for the first time in the house.
Nice, nice. That program has
Yeah.
been in the works for a little while, right?
Yeah. We've been going through the process and
Hmm.
we got approved pretty quickly after we, had time to actually have them do all their procedures. But yeah, so the two kids, they were 15 and 16,
Hmm.
two boys, and they're from here. They're from Okinawa. One of them lives like right up the street. And I was
Hmm.
like, "Where do you live?" And he was like, "Hey, I live over by the
Right
castle,
down there.
right down there." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
Okay.
by the castle, by the convenience store." There's a,
Oh,
it's.
a
I
castle
know
by a
this is kind
convenience
of
store.
this kind of
I've
blows
never, yeah.
this kind of blows Americans' minds. It did when the first time I came here to
Uh,
Japan and other
castle by a
places, but
convenience store.
yeah,
That's
there's
pretty cool.
literally like RPG castle ruins like around the corner from a 7-Eleven. It's one of those things that we just don't really have that much.
Hmm.
Like I feel like all of our ruins in the US, they're like away or they're out or or
Yeah.
they're in the middle of the city, but it's
Uh-huh.
like a more modern because America's just newer, but
Yeah, yeah,
you go
yeah.
places like here, other places around the world, 100-year
Mhm.
castle just flattened. Just that's the weird thing about Okinawa. Like you go and I
Uh-huh.
think people when they think of Japan, they think of like the beautiful, the Imperial Palace and
Mhm.
Osaka Castle and all this stuff. Down
Yeah.
here in Okinawa, everything's ruins except for one castle, and that castle itself is has become a ruin very recently. So they have a castle down
Oh,
here called Shurijo Castle. Is
uh-huh.
like it was like the seat of the old uh Ryukyu kingdom down here. I'm not going to get into a history lesson, but bottom line is that was like their capital, and it actually burned down in a fire in
Okay.
2019, like
Wow.
recently.
Hey. Mm.
And so they've been renovating it, and we were just there um maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. It wasn't that long
Mhm.
ago, but you can't go into the main castle because
Mm.
they're still
You're
fixing it
still
up from the
working
fire.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still
Huh.
fixing it. So
Huh.
anyway, I know I got off on that tangent, castles and stuff, but yeah. So these kids, they're from here, and we had a good time, man. The whole thing
Mm.
is cultural
Mhm.
exchange for them.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
cultural
yeah.
exchange, it's language exchange, and so we're supposed to cook meals with them. We're supposed to speak only English with them, since they only speak Japanese, or they mostly speak Japanese.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, we did a barbecue,
Oh,
we
very
played
cool.
games,
Very
went to the
cool.
beach, just chilled out, man. It
All
was
right.
nice.
All
It
right.
was
That is
yeah,
nice.
yeah, it was
Oh.
really cool. These kids can eat though, man.
Mhm.
Like, and I knew it because I work with kids. I don't, working at the school, but Joanna was like, God, they eat so much food. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you forget when you're an adult. Teenagers be
Uh-huh.
so hungry. You forget how hungry you were when you were a
Uh-huh.
teenager. You just don't
Uh,
even think. They wanted to eat and sleep.
oh, okay. Wow.
They had a paper that they filled out. It was like, what time do you go to bed? What time do you get up? But they both said, oh, we go to bed at midnight, wake
Uh-huh.
up at 6.
Okay. Okay.
And then they actually get here. They went to bed at 2 and woke up at
Okay.
11.
Oh,
Well, one of them
okay.
did. And
Huh.
then the other one did get up early, but then he was like, can I go back to sleep after he ate breakfast?
Okay.
And so it was great. We had a great time with them.
Okay. Okay.
Shout out
Cool.
to them.
Cool.
We actually recorded a song because one of them, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mhm.
He's like he loves Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, Justin
Oh, okay.
Bieber, all these
Okay.
contemporary pop artists,
Uh-huh.
and so he brought his guitar with him, and he had it in the room for a couple of days, and he wasn't really using it. But then yesterday, I brought him in here and I showed him, hey, I make all this music and I do all this stuff. We should
Yeah,
record
yeah.
a song with y'all playing. And so I said, hey,
Oh, okay.
his name was
Okay.
Akira. Akira, come over here. You play the guitar. And it was like pressing play on like an MP3, the way this kid could play.
Oh, wow.
Flawless. What he
Wow.
knew, he didn't know. I don't know if he knew a lot, but he knew basically like this particular chords to this one song. And it
Yeah.
sounded just like an Ed Sheeran, Shawn Mendes. He
Wow.
just started playing, and
Okay.
I'll play the song for you later. I won't play you the song because I sing in the song.
Uh-huh.
We called it the birthday song because I got their
Okay.
birthdays, and so I ad lib lyrics. And y'all, I don't. The only time I sing is in karaoke. Like I love karaoke,
Uh-huh.
but like for real singing, I've only done it once on one of my
Mm.
songs. Most of my
Mhm.
songs are instrumental. And so I just on the fly came up with lyrics.
Oh, wow. You
And
freestyling.
I freestyled it. I mean, they were sitting right here, and I gave
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
kid
yeah,
because
yeah.
he wasn't really a musician. He wasn't really interested. So I just gave him a
Yeah.
drum. So I have a like Okinawan drum, and so he played that. And then I
Yeah.
I played like a little arpeggio on the
Oh,
keyboard.
okay. Okay.
I put a bass in. Dude, I did this in 2 hours
Wow.
in
Look at
real
that.
time while
Making music.
coaching these kids. I know.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
kind of floored by my skills. Like I was like, and
Uh-huh.
Joanna watched me do it just back here.
Uh-huh.
And she was just like,
Music producer.
I didn't know you could
Oh,
do
yeah.
this. And I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't know I could do this. I've never
That's
done it
awesome.
before.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
anyway, man, it was a good time. It was a
That's
good time.
cool. That's cool. And
Yeah.
right before I logged on, I was singing my own song. I was singing a random Frosty the Snowman song. And I think it's because I just moved. I just moved into this office. I was in another office, working on the desktop. And I
Yeah.
was like, all right, let me go back to the old office. I was like, man, it's cold in here. It's cold because it's hot in
Yeah.
Georgia, and our house
I
is like
know. Yeah.
it's like an ice box on one end, and then it's
Yeah.
it's like a heater on the other
Furnace.
end
Yeah.
because we have the other unit that's not fixed. And so I was singing my little Frosty the Snowman song. I don't know that I want to sing it on here because it was a little bit stupid.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But
my song
uh,
is pretty silly too.
yeah,
I
yeah,
almost thought about putting it on my SoundCloud, but I was like,
nah. And I'm sure,
it's
I'm
for the
sure,
kids. I don't want them to get, I
I'm
don't
sure
want them to
people are
get
listening to this.
embarrassed.
They're like, man, why don't they sing it? I'm like, because it's a phone call.
I know because
It's not a
yeah,
podcast, actually.
yeah, I'm
we,
telling you, you
I
don't want
know.
to hear this song.
I
Maybe
don't know.
it,
We getting a little bit.
maybe, maybe, I don't
Uh,
know. I won't even put it as bonus content. Like if you want to hear
yo,
the
yo,
song,
you want to hear the song?
you're gonna have to look deep on my website if you want to find it. I ain't putting it in no show notes, y'all.
Yeah, and
You
and
just
my
gonna.
Frosty song only had one line anyway, so it wasn't really a full song. It
Oh
was
my
it was
God.
bad. It was a bad song. Anyways,
Damn.
I know the teaser's thrown out there. Like,
I
man,
know the
come on,
teasers. They
man,
probably
just
like,
sing.
where the song at? Like, just play the song. Like, okay, I might in post production, I might
Oh
splice like a clip in.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
might. It's just the man. I put out so much stuff, and most of the time, I'm like, I don't care. I'm trying
yeah,
this
yeah,
out, but I know my singing is not good. Like,
yeah.
actually, it's not okay. I actually take that back. It's not terrible
Uh-huh.
because it's not like I never sing. I do sing, but
Mhm.
I'm no, I threw out Shawn Mendes, Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber.
Uh-huh.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna hear that. But
You know
actually,
what
the actual song, like the actual music,
Yeah.
is for 2 hours and on the
Right.
fly and
Yeah,
produced on the
yeah.
fly. It sounds like a song,
That's pretty
like
okay. That's pretty
focus
dope.
in
That's pretty
tune.
dope.
And yeah, I was really proud of that. What I put
Yeah.
together for those kids, and I even made them a little cover for the song. I
Oh, wow.
generated
It's like full production. Look at
full
this.
production, man. Yeah, we took a
Local
selfie.
records. Local
Yeah,
records.
we took a selfie,
Okay.
and then I made a AI generated
Okay.
picture of a birthday cake. I
Oh,
took it
word.
into Canva, I put it in there, some birthday song featuring their
Okay.
their names, and then
Okay.
I sent it to them online over here.
That's
Yeah,
cool. That is real cool. Yeah, I
yeah.
I sing around the house and I think I can sing pretty well. I have different
Yeah, I feel
songs
like yeah, I've heard you sing before, definitely.
yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, we did karaoke a couple years ago.
And I was just thinking, so the big thing for me this weekend was that I was going through paperwork. And since I
Mhm.
moved, I mean, you don't realize how much paperwork you don't need until you change houses
Seriously.
and change
Yep.
states. And then
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, why was I keeping envelopes of all this random stuff?
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't, right? You can't take
Oh, yeah.
everything with you.
Every
And
time. Yep.
so, man, starting Thursday night, I was like, man, I'm going through these because I'm trying to clean up a particular room and I got piles of all kinds of, silly stuff just
Yep.
collected envelopes from, ads and people who don't live here anymore.
Yep.
So I started going through it and man, it took me 3 days.
3
Yesterday, I had
days.
this brilliant idea. Okay, so first of all, I'm trying to find new places. This is the first time I've done filing since moving to Georgia.
Wow.
Trying to find so certain things, certain bills, they don't have a place. I've just been throwing them on tables.
Yeah.
Shanna hates
God,
it. She's like, "What do you?"
you and my wife,
Just throw them on the table. And she's
y'all
like,
put that thing
"How
somewhere. Put it in the garbage or put it.
how do you live?" She says. So
I'd be
finally
like,
I was like, okay, I admit
y'all
it. We
crazy.
can't clean out this storage room because my freaking papers are everywhere. So
Yeah.
I did my usual. Once every 3 years, I lay everything out on the floor in the living room.
Did you say 3 years?
No.
3
Three,
years?
man, look,
That's a
that's about how long it takes for different things to happen. Otherwise, it just I don't know where it goes. Anyway, so I started laying it out and uh cleared out a lot of things, but then I ended up with this shred pile because normally every 3 years I do the last 3 years worth of stuff. This
hmm.
time I was doing 15 years worth of
Oh
stuff,
my
starting from the purchase of my first house, or actually the sale of my first house after I
jeez.
purchased it.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was so many things from the original mortgage company, it's paid and all that stuff. And I didn't, I mean, I don't need this anymore. I don't even do business with.
Yeah,
San Antonio
exactly.
utilities and things like that.
Yeah,
So
you're done.
here's the highlight though. I was trying to shred papers, and my shredder kept overheating. It kept going out. So I came up with this. It's a good shredder. It's just that, I mean, dude, the pile was huge. It filled up a, a contractor sized trash bag of things that I need to shred.
Wow.
So I said, you know what? I'm so tired of this thing shredding. I took pictures of my sequence. I decided to shred my papers with a chop saw because I have a chop saw. Yo, bro.
This is already. I love this story.
Yo, I thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea because I was like, I just put the chop saw down
No,
and just like file it in,
no,
just like this.
no, no, no.
Okay, man, yo, you cannot imagine
I,
how.
I actually can't imagine. That was the
Okay,
first thing I pictured when you
so
the chop saw.
those people who they stand in the cell and all the dollars are flying out and they gotta
That's
grab a
exact.
dollar. Ah,
Get your
bro,
vacuum cleaner and your broom ready.
that was what was happening. And
Boom.
it was just my chop saw.
Explosion.
I didn't actually finish it because
No.
it's not so much that it was making a mess. It's just after a while I had sawed so much stuff that the
Right.
blade needs adjusting. But dude,
Right.
I got through it 70%. Otherwise it would have been one paper at a time for about 3 months. I'm
Yeah.
just saying
No,
that's how long. So
that is
it
true.
was a decent idea, but man, yo, there was papers everywhere. The whole
And then
room was
and then when you use
dusty.
something like that on paper, you get the little dust particles.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Oh
it's
no,
more just you
I
get
had a
small
mask
shreds.
on and
Oh,
stuff, and I had my goggles on, and
that's
the whole room was it was filled with paper, like wood
that's
pulp.
funny, man.
Finally, it's my like immediately I realized, dude, no joke. I was sitting in a pile of paper, and it
Yeah.
was truly like like you could hide two humans under the pile of
Oh my
shredded paper
God.
in the room I was in yesterday. This was just yesterday. So finally I was like, look, man, I can't handle this. So I had some tubes from old flooring and I started shoving the envelopes and things inside the tubes, thinking that I could at least control where it flew. Okay, this
No.
kind of worked. It was quite dangerous. And man,
Yeah.
I could have really lost a hand. So
Yeah.
I mean, because it kept jerking and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really careful and stuff like that, but it was a little bit reckless.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man.
that's how I
That's
spent my weekend though. It wasn't
okay, everyone. And then the moral of the story is don't wait 3 fucking years to do your
to do.
shredding or to look through your papers. Do it.
Yo,
Do it
it
more
was yeah,
often.
it was really 15 years.
I
So
actually do that. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of on the opposite end. Like, you can get away with doing 3 years. Like, 3 years, being military,
mm,
like, that's one assignment. So, yeah,
mhm.
definitely have to keep up regular maintenance. So, I have a system where annually, like around New Year's,
Oh wow.
you typically have more time off. I will go through all the, junk mail, all the stuff that's just built
Yeah,
notifications and
I don't have
stuff.
that
You can throw that
kind of
stuff away.
discipline, not really.
But then
Yeah.
I have manila folders of every
Uh-huh.
year going back to probably I could probably throw them out now, but going back to like 2012,
Mm,
2013,
mhm.
it's been a while since I've been doing this
Yeah,
because I was moving.
yeah, and I was using my manila folders. Well, not manila, but just whatever
Yeah, the
folders had.
envelopes. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the file folders, whatever previous label they had on them, they still have.
Oh no.
So laziness, bro. I have
Yeah.
something,
So you
there's a
don't know.
no, I don't know
Yeah.
what's in there.
You
But
don't know what it
I'll just
is.
thumb
Yeah.
through it next time. And I decided that I don't care anymore because it was taking too long. I
So
just
I find if I do it annually, then it cuts down on obviously the garbage, but then it's
yeah,
also
yeah,
like I can find because there's been several times like, we've moved. Okay, now we need a tax thing from X number of years back. I can just okay, go to
yeah.
that year's folder or that envelope and go find it. So that's my system. But you do have to be disciplined and do the upkeep with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Random times, random
manage your
labeling.
files, y'all. Manage
That's
your
my
paperwork.
that's my system.
I'm like that with online too. I have this thing about running out of space. I don't know where I got this from, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
super paranoid about running out of space on my drive. on my drives, even though we're in this time where it's no problem to have a 1-2 terabyte drive, which
Yeah.
is freaking plenty for
Yeah.
most people, most things. But yeah, I just have this thing, and because I think it's just so, especially since I've been doing more creative stuff and exporting so many things, videos,
Mhm.
um, music, all this stuff. The stuff does take up a lot of space faster
Yeah.
because there's just more data that you're
Mhm.
going to store and you're going to save. So I think it's just wildly inconvenient to be like, okay, I want to download this, I want to work and use this, and it's like you don't have enough space
Mhm.
on your drive.
Yeah.
So that means I have to stop and then I have to go and like, okay, well, what can I get rid of? Or I have to organize. I have
Yeah.
to do this thing, and I hate doing that. So I just kind of do it. Um, I find if I do it real time, like do it once a month. I try and do a once a month thing to where I clear out my
Mhm.
downloads folder. I, move stuff to folders, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. It'll make the annual purge a lot easier.
Mhm.
Um, but speaking of creative stuff, man, what's going on there? Like you data stuff, or is it been mostly? It sounds like it's been mostly work for you.
I figured out how to use the Stable Diffusion API, which is
Oh, nice.
legit. And
Yeah.
also, I found this really cool plugin for Nime, which essentially controls Firefox.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
that's right. Okay, I remember you
Yeah.
told me about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So now I'm slowly setting up a kind of robo workflow to
Mm,
where,
yes.
I got that
Yes.
mouse that you can program. So I clicked
Yeah.
a button and it scrolled up in my Excel files. And I'm
Oh, that's awesome.
Shanna always says I'm going to build a Terminator one day because I tell her about all this
Mhm.
stuff that I'm automating.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's my thing, man. It's partly for the
Nice.
job, but mostly personal.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
doing like automated stuff. The Stable Diffusion API is real neat because you can
Mm.
basically go into Nime, give it a table, have the table fill in the payload for the what you're going to send to the API,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
running Stable Diffusion from Nime
Yeah.
and spitting the stuff out. So you could just
Awesome.
leave. You could go on vacation, and it'd be
Hands
making
off.
AI stuff.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
with
Yeah.
you like just feeding it a table of previous stuff you worked on.
Nice.
So
Oh,
I've been
it's
working
great,
on that.
man.
We have some house things. I think a big change over the last month is that we had a roof leak, and we
Mm.
were we were using the buckets. We broke out the buckets for that, and finally it was like, okay, let's just call a roofer. And we do not like doing this, looking for contractors.
Mhm.
Um, but it turns out that our current contractor knew a roofer. A roofer came over, patched it, and I'm not telling you it's night and day, but definitely things are getting more stable there as far as
Very nice.
work on the house is concerned. Now, by the way, we we went to this yearly event, which is advertised around here,
Mm.
the Sweet Onion Festival.
Ah, okay. I remember you
And
mentioned this. Yeah.
and did I tell you how weird it was?
No, you
Okay,
didn't.
no, man, the Sweet Onion Festival. I'm it would be funny, but it isn't because it was very Twilight Zone. Like
Mm.
it's a celebration of the city.
Mhm.
And so you go there and they've had it for like the last, I guess, 7 years or whatever. And
Mm.
so all these vendors are out there, but it's truly, I guess, just a hodgepodge of folks who sell their stuff. And it wasn't about anything. I mean, they had, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be critical of it, but like it didn't have a main point. They did
Right,
have
right.
the world famous turtle races, and they did have the we didn't see those, and we
Oh,
concluded
man.
we concluded that we should have because they had a
Yeah.
nice stage. The turtle stage, which we saw later because they had a concert with people who like cover band, fun stuff. They called the Second Chance Band. They sang all kinds of cool.
Second chance. Oh,
They sang
okay. So they
they
played a
sang
bunch of
these.
covers of
Yeah,
older
they were
songs.
they but they played a bunch of hits. They did everything from Bruno Mars to these people who were singing songs back in the 50s and 60s. It was dope. And
Wow.
and what we went there the second time at night to go see the Second Chance Band, and they were, I mean, you really could dance to their stuff.
That's cool.
And we looked over to the left in the parking lot, and there was the turtle stage that they had run the world famous turtle races on. And we were like, man, this stage that the turtles raced on was better than the tents that the vendors were under. Like,
Wow.
when we got there, because we're in Georgia, right? So Georgia's a
Yeah.
little bit conservative in some places.
Yeah.
And so as soon as you walked up at the beginning of the Sweet Onion Festival, the place where it's all held is right across from this gun shop. And so there were
Mm.
all these like political recruiters and stuff, and
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
so
Okay,
strange.
yeah, it was strange because it was supposed to be an onion festival, but they were
Right.
just like, "Hey, yo, buy our guns and like fix America." And when
Whoa.
you walk up off the street, but see the thing about Glenville is that it's like really tolerant. It's like really well
Right.
run. It's a fun town, but and so it's known that all you need to do is walk past these guys and then you'll get to the rest of the onion festival. So it was weird, man. Like we walked off the street and these people like had all their like Confederate flags and like selling flags and
Really?
selling guns and like guns selling flags and like
Yeah.
recruiting to,
I know. Yeah. It,
yo,
it it takes me back to like back home,
but it
like,
wasn't like a festival or anything. It was
but
more like, I
yeah.
don't know what it was. And the thing is like
Yeah.
they took up like 50 feet of stuff and they looked lonely. They were like really like trying to like cherry pick who they talk to, but like
Right.
other
Of
people didn't
course.
want to talk,
Yeah. It's just
because
kind
they
of
were
weird.
coming for an onion festival, man. They weren't coming
I
for all
know. They're
that.
not coming for this.
So
Yeah.
and like everybody can like to each his own.
Right.
Whatever your
Right.
leanings are, that's cool. This was a sweet onion festival though.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I would,
Weird.
and so me and Shannon were walking by like, uh, is this the welcoming committee for all the
I
very diverse
know.
members of the city? We walked past them, and then the lady who bakes the cookies was there, and she was just kind of like there. And then all the real booths started, all these sponsors, the medical marijuana place that has just gotten awarded
Mm.
to us.
Wow.
They're there, and
Hmm.
but they're not there at the booths, and then there's the
Yeah.
people
Boots
selling
aren't manned.
lawnmowers and
Yeah.
stuff. And it was like a bazaar. It was like going to
Strange.
a bizarre bazaar. And we walked and we were going, and normally in the place where they have the bouncy castles, they didn't have bouncy
Hmm.
castles. Instead, they had like a bunch of like hot dog, but like skewered alligator, something stands, food places out in this lawn. And it was like a whole other world if you made a right. But it it was unusual.
That's
And I think we were joking that it was kind of like, I think I called it, Hollywood set B. It didn't seem real, bro.
right.
It seemed like everything
Interesting.
was a storefront. And you could picture walking down the set and having like a cowboy fall out of a building on one,
Right.
having like a spaceship, like a
Right.
Wookiee swinging from a tree on
Yep.
another, and then you look farther down,
Backlot.
and then
Yeah.
there's like a, yeah, backlot. Exactly. You look further down and there's like some Baroque costume thing going on. And we were just like, what is this? Like, what are they going for?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell. We got
Yeah.
to the end of the line and we talked to this very nice lady um who sells like herbal things and her
Hmm.
own home business. But right next to her was some like plume faced ladies who apparently didn't like an interracial couple. It was a
Really?
mixture of like,
Mixed bag.
it was a mixed bag, and it was a weird
Interesting.
mixed bag,
Yeah.
such that by the time we left, that was the day version. The night version was a second chance band. They were dope. But
Hmm.
by the time we left, we were like, that was so strange. And
Yeah.
it wasn't the kind of thing that you would recommend or not recommend. It was just a
Hmm.
weird experience, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us, we both said neither of us had ever seen anything like it. It was so strange. Um,
Wow.
but that was the Sweet Onion Festival.
Wow.
They had one of their things was like an onion weighing competition, and they had like 6 versions of Miss Sweet Onion. I kid you not. I have to censor myself, bro. They had Miss Sweet Onion Festival, Miss
Yeah.
Teen Sweet Onion Festival,
Oh, I
Miss
see.
like Toddler Sweet Onion Festival, and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
no joke, they had like 6 different Miss Sweet Onion festivals because apparently it's we like pageants and sports here and stuff like that.
Right. Pageants. Yeah.
But
That type of
we were
deal.
at
Yeah.
first we were just like, no, do we really want to see all these Sweet Onion Festival again? Because the paper covered all this stuff, like on page 2, Miss Sweet Onion, but on page 4, Miss Sweet Onion. And
Wow.
we were just like, okay, let's just go for the shops. But it turns out we should have gone for Miss Sweet Onion, the onion weighing and the turtle race. and we're gonna try that next year.
You missed the turtle race,
We
man.
we missed the turtle race, and
I
you
feel like
know,
that would have been if I'd seen it. That's probably what I would have gone for to
I
see.
yeah, we're gonna do it next year because I'm
That's
sure it was really
interesting.
exciting to see turtles meander. It would have been more exciting than seeing what we saw.
Yeah,
I mean, it was cool for the vendors. Kind of stuff was mad expensive.
I
I mean,
know. Yeah.
oh,
At
oof,
those, and I was
oof.
thinking like when we were living in California, we lived in the Central Valley area, so Northern
Mhm.
California, and you visited us. It's the same deal. Like
Yeah,
you go to these
yeah.
small towns, and I remember we went to like a peach festival, or maybe they had like a strawberry. I can't remember. It was one of
Mhm,
those
mhm.
fruits, but it definitely wasn't like down there. It didn't wasn't that experience, but it was that kind of experience of, okay, this is a small town. We don't really have a lot here, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
we're gonna make a big deal. It's all gonna be peaches, and
The peaches, yeah, yeah.
that's what we grow around here. And
Okay,
so
okay.
vendors and stuff, but yeah, stuff be mad expensive, and you feel bad because these local farmers, I'm sure it's the same in
Mhm.
Georgia, are competing with big box stores, and the
Yeah,
only way they can stay afloat is to charge like 150% plus of what their stuff is already marked up to,
yes, yeah,
like to make any type of profit or have any chance. So, I mean, it was the same in California. You go to
yeah,
this,
yeah,
it's like $10 for like 5 cookies or something.
yeah.
And I'm not just making something
Yeah,
up, but it's something to like where it's like $10 really
yeah,
for this.
yeah.
But I mean, it's more of like a support thing. You're basically donating to
Mhm.
these businesses, and they make their. I do appreciate, especially now that I'm on the creator side. I appreciate you know, because doing digital first. I was just talking with mom about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, just imagine how it was back in the day where, she was doing Amway, and
Yeah, yeah.
you have to make the call. You have to go knock on the
Man,
doors and
I
boots on
can't
the ground and
imagine.
do the
Yeah.
functions and all that stuff. Like, I'm so glad we don't have to do that.
I found
And we can
myself when I
reach
was
way more people too. That's the
yeah,
thing.
when I
Like,
was doing my shredding, I was trying to use the shredder, and after a while, I was like, man, I'm just gonna tear this because not all of it needed to be shredded. And then I said, man,
yeah.
I'm shredding like mom does. Just tear paper and throw it into the bag. I was totally doing it though. I mean, one can only shred
I know,
6,000
man.
pages of
No,
paper
I've
one
been
at a
there, man.
time for
Like, I
so
remember
long.
at when I was active duty, like we had, of course, like an industrial large one,
Mhm.
but even standing there and just you can do like maybe 10 or 15 sheets at a time.
Yeah,
It was so tedious, man. Just like you'd have to take a
yeah,
giant case file like this thick and be like, okay,
yeah.
disposition, time to shred it
Yes,
all. And it's like, I'm
yes,
gonna be here
exactly.
for 2 hours shredding. Like,
Yeah,
God, man.
yeah. Okay, so
But
another thing that's been going on,
yeah,
and I forgot to tell you, is that I've been watching Quantum Leap and
that's
just
right. Yeah,
like,
you did mention
yeah,
last
dude.
time.
Okay, so I'm finally on season 5, and this is like a 2-month commitment. Watching all 96 episodes of Quantum Leap.
Original
The
Quantum Leap.
original, the
We will
original Quantum
qualify.
Leap.
Not I'm sure there's been some I feel like every time I look at CBS, there's some reboot of some old show.
Yeah,
I see the title and I'm like they did Magnum PI
yeah,
recently.
I've seen that. I've
I
seen
haven't
that
seen the reboot,
advertised. No,
but
I haven't watched it. I've just seen it
yeah,
around.
it's just like
Yeah, I
I'm like,
mean,
wow. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of the CBS demographic though. It's older, like they like
yeah,
the older stuff, but it's just like, man, they
yeah. But the
reviving these
reboot,
old.
though, I mean, like you can't. I don't know, man. I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
how they would one reboot Magnum PI because Tom Selleck walking around, hairy chest and stuff like that. And
Honestly,
there's
I
some
don't
things that you
remember. I
can't.
never saw the original,
Oh,
but I
that's right.
mean,
It was
I guess
a
yeah, it
little
was
bit
a little
before
bit
you.
before my time, but
Yes. No, yeah, but I mean, it was like 80s macho. I
yeah,
don't see
80s.
how they could reboot it. And Quantum Leap is like
Yeah.
very moral, like moralistic. They refer to God a lot. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I had no idea until I
Yeah,
started
that wouldn't
watching. I'm
fly.
like,
That wouldn't fly today.
I was like, honestly, man, Quantum Leap is similar, kind of like a precursor to Touched by an Angel, or
Yeah,
related to
touched
like
by an angel.
Highway to Heaven. Not
Mm,
quite, not quite. It's not that heavy, but as you watch it, you're like, man, this is really pleasant in like many senses.
mm,
And yeah, but I had no idea it was like that. So I'm continually getting inspired, right? I write about time travel and things like that.
mm.
and just thinking about how it can be done. And that
Mm,
was the main thing that I was going to tell you about. I've been watching Quantum Leap and really kind of thinking about how time travel can be put to practical
yeah.
uses. I mean, there are ways you can do it.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I mean, for people who, listen to this podcast, it's not DeLorean style time travel.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
We're sitting in the chair, right? The time machine. Not for us. Um, I do think that one day humans will be able to do that kind of time travel. But here's the catch:
Mm,
we'll need to be augmented and cyberized.
right,
This
of
should
course.
make total believable sense, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah,
we get to the point where we're their brains hooked into the internet and we can have instant, before your eyes, before your
yep,
AR goggles or whatever,
yep,
metaverse, and it won't be goggles after a while,
right.
then you can put yourself in a reload of things that you've gone through.
Yep.
I feel like this is perfectly, perfectly reasonable, right?
Yeah,
People
definitely.
could attempt it right now. They could go on to
100%.
Meta and design some app. And if they were really like equipped with millions to pay people
Yep.
to sit over their shoulder and say, okay, the trees look like this when I was in high
Mhm.
school, the
Yep.
people look like that
Train
when I
it
was
up.
you could truly like hand crank a past for yourself
Yep.
and hire a team to redo the video game of it. You could do that
Yep.
today if
Yep.
you were
Totally possible.
Zuckerberg, Mark
Mhm.
Zuckerberg, if you
Yeah.
wanted to. So it's not that, time travel is really beyond our reach. I think that um, in the future, though, our cyberized versions will be able to do it. Those
Mm.
of us who say, I'm gonna stick the whatever the equivalent of USB in my neck, or I'm just
Mhm.
gonna wirelessly go do something.
Yep, exactly.
That'll be that version of time travel, like getting into DeLorean and
Yeah.
living it,
You'll
right?
have the experience of it.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. But
Mhm.
until then, I don't think that the current version of Homo sapiens, that's us, unhooked,
Mhm.
um, is gonna be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah,
Not in any way
definitely not.
that's like legit.
Yeah.
It's like maybe cheap or pixelated
Yeah,
meta.
yeah. It's basically like
You know?
a next
Yeah.
level video game, you know?
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
but even though we can't time travel in that way, I think a lot about how they do time travel in Quantum Leap.
Mhm.
And yesterday I watched an episode that I'm not sure how I feel about it. I like the show, but it surprised me that it went off after 5 seasons because
Mm,
the typical was seven.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, I think who knows what the circumstances were. I haven't looked it up,
mm.
but I was concerned when I was looking at the show previews that um, maybe season five broke Quantum Leap because you can see
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the episode previews that they're doing some things that they say were not allowed on the first 4 seasons,
Mhm.
like
Yep.
leaping out of his lifetime. There is one episode where it is done, or trying to affect major events. The very
Mm.
first 2 episodes they're trying to do it. I'm like,
Right,
what are
right.
they doing to Quantum Leap? It was always about helping the individual. And
Mhm,
so I
mhm.
watched the first 2 episodes of season five, and I was like, well, oh, what happened to my
Yep.
show? What happened?
Falling off. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and it didn't quite fall off, but it was getting there. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, by the way, for anybody who wants like a really near realistic um idea of what time travel should be, Quantum Leap season 1, episode 8. Episode 8, I think is what it is, where they're trying to defend the project. And that's
Mm.
the first time you actually see Al in his home time trying to justify things. And man, what they do in episode 8, how they get through it is like 90 to 95% how we can almost actually do time travel today.
Mm.
An
Mm.
event happened, you go back in your own history, it gets rewritten, and then
Right.
you see the present results from the time forward. The
Yeah.
only difference is that um, the way they do it in episode 8, it's essentially, I don't want to give it away, but something is accomplished in a blink, which
Mm.
wouldn't necessarily be accomplished in a blink. It would be accomplished via somebody walking in the room and
Uh,
making it be different. Totally realistic. It can be
yeah.
done.
Yeah,
For
for sure.
people who just want to kind of go back into their lives and rewrite events that that they have gone through, you can do this. Like you
Mm.
really can uh, change not so much the past, but I called it in my recordings. expressive time travel.
Mm-hmm.
It may seem kind of cheap because it's not the DeLorean, but
Right.
yo, the effects are good, right?
The effects
You
work. Yeah.
you you interface with that person and you screwed up the relationship, right?
Mm,
But you keep interfacing with other people who are just like that person.
mm,
And you don't have to follow the same path that you did with the
right.
others. And if you're able to jump off that old path, then you can essentially write
Yeah.
different. There's a
Recreate it.
different
Yeah.
actor, but it's the same plot, right?
Right.
And that kind of time travel is like, um, it's valuable. People would take it for granted because they're like, well, it's not magic. But
Right.
I mean, how many people are unhappy with the lives they lead? And
Mm,
you don't need magic. You just need a different behavior.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, Quantum Leap, every episode, it's a really powerful series, though. I
Mm,
had no idea it was such an activist type show.
interesting.
Like they were ahead of their time in terms of issues, and they
Mm-hmm.
weren't afraid of really any issue. There's an episode
Nice.
on same-sex stuff
Mm,
right
mm,
before Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
interesting.
And it's, I mean, they cover the Watts
Yeah.
riots, they cover
Wow. Yeah. Big
Japanese
stuff back then.
discrimination after World War II. They
Yeah.
cover all kinds of stuff. It's a cool show.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even remember this because we were young.
Yeah. We were
When it
just,
was on, I must have been
yeah.
like 9. I was 9
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
came
When it
on.
was, yeah, actually airing. Yeah. It's interesting. I was having an conversation last night. I attend this AI meetup.
Mhm.
It's in a Discord server, and a bunch of us, we're all like creators and mostly digital entrepreneurs, all varying, some people are graphic designers, AI builders, coders, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and so we were talking about now, did you know that you can, well, you probably don't use this. Do you use Google Photos?
No.
So in Google Photos, just a couple of months ago, they introduced this magic eraser.
Oh, they
And
advertise that
yeah,
on TV,
yeah.
on
So
the
okay,
Roku.
yeah. So maybe you heard of this. So
Mhm.
I actually used it like
Mhm.
in real time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like we
Yeah.
were basically up north in a crowded, very one of Japan's most beautiful gardens
Mhm.
in Rokuyen Garden. We're there, top three in Japan. And there's this beautiful bridge
Mhm.
with a lantern by it in front of a lake. It's like the symbol of the entire garden.
Mhm.
And so I take a picture, and there's all these people on the bridge
Mhm.
in the way. Picture's ruined.
Uh-huh.
So then I find out they have this magic eraser, and I
Yeah.
literally just tap and swipe over the people. They're
Yeah.
gone.
They're gone. Wow.
They're gone.
Yeah.
And so basically, what it's doing is it's using AI to replace that part of the picture
Mhm.
with a best fit. Obviously, if it's a picture of this lantern and this little bridge and the the little pond behind it or whatever,
Mhm.
it knows
Yeah.
that's what I should be, reproducing.
Yeah.
And that's basically how these technologies work. A lot of these now we see the Adobe, what is it called? Generative fill. Have you heard of this generative fill?
Mm-mm. No.
So basically you can take an image like this zoom frame. You can
Mhm.
see the zoom frame. I could put this in this generative fill, and it will give like an best guess of what is around me
Mm.
based on what it sees in the frame.
Mm. Interesting.
So for a couple of days, this just came out a couple of weeks ago. So you
Yeah.
had people basically like posting pictures of famous album covers, like
Yeah.
what is it? Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Mhm.
So he's sitting on the is it piano or something. I forget what he's sitting on, but he's like kind
Mhm.
of how
Yeah,
he
he's
looks.
leaning. Yeah.
Yeah, he's leaning. So they put that in, and then it like filled out the rest of his whole body. He's in the white suit, and then there's his legs.
Oh,
There's
yeah, the,
him.
outpainting. It's,
Yeah.
infinite zoom is
Yes,
yes.
outpainting, generative fill, they call it different things, but that's basically what it is.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
using
okay.
AI to approximate what it thinks should be on the outside, and then you
Yeah,
can
you know
train
what?
those
And I
results.
haven't downloaded the Stable Diffusion plugins, but they do have that.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's the latest big thing
yeah.
I've seen on AI Twitter
Mhm.
is that, a lot of things are having this feature.
Mhm.
But the interesting thing, it wasn't really the technology. It was more like Steven joked. He was like, "Oh, well, now they have a fake picture in there, because
Mm.
it's basically your original picture, like my
Yeah.
picture of the lantern in the garden.
Yeah.
It is not there anymore. It has
Hmm.
been not fully replaced, but at least partially replaced with AI without those people in it."
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, like, what is real then? Like, because you could say, like, you're thinking of
Yeah.
time travel, right? Like, once something is in the past, there's a certain version of it that we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so, is that real? This it's real because you had the experience of it, but
You
then
know,
now
they
you
say
go in.
old adage, history is written by the victors, right? Even
Absolutely.
what we've learned, we
Yeah.
consider it real. But I mean, come on, yo, our history books. I mean, come on.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, to somebody else, that's totally not real, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
of over here in Japan, obviously World War II, all that
Hmm.
stuff. Like, it's complicated.
Yeah.
And so here comes AI to where you can, you don't have to write the book. You don't have to tell the story and sit around the campfire. You can literally just press a button and say, I don't like these people in my picture. I want it nice. I want just the garden.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
on the
get rid of them.
commercial for the magic eraser, they're taking a picture at an aquarium, and then there's some
Yeah.
clown in the aquarium diving in the background. They just take him
Yeah.
out because he's looking
Take him out.
silly.
Get
He's
rid
like,
of him.
yeah,
Gone. So it just got me thinking, like, last night
uh,
when Steven said that one little comment, he's like, oh, now it's a fake picture. I'm like,
yes,
you could say that about all pictures
mm, interesting.
because it's a snapshot in time reproduced. We tend to not think this way about pictures. And I know this is kind of a weird way to think about it, but I mean, I think this is the type of stuff that I think about with AI. It's
Mm,
like there's so many people like, oh, that's not real art, that's not real this, that's not real that. It's like most people can't tell. Like, when it comes to writing, especially, like, I know there's a lot of people
yeah,
on AI Twitter that Twitter can spin out viral threads like nobody's business. Like,
hmm,
you can, if you know what you want to ask for, it can do it. ChatGPT
mm,
can do it, or Bard, or whatever you use. Um, and so, is that not real?
mm.
Does it matter? It's one of those things, and I
Yeah,
think it. I think it will matter to a lot of people.
I
Like,
think it will. Right now, it doesn't because
right now, it doesn't.
people don't. It's still toys, still early
Right.
adoption.
It's not. You
I
take it
mean,
seriously
I'm
to. Yeah.
seeing it's there you've got these folks who are still kind of trying to be early adopters, but really,
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're gonna do with it, then
I think that's the problem.
you
Yeah.
know
I was just having this
why don't you
conversation
just
last
go
night.
out and hire 100 painters to go paint stuff for you?
Exactly. I
But the
think that's
usefulness in that is,
the use cases. Yeah. I was just having this conversation last night in my AI meetup. There's all these tools that look amazing. They look cool, but I'm like, and this was part of the 4 months that we hadn't recorded an episode. I've gone out of this like, oh, look at this tool, look at that tool, look what this could do.
mhm,
I'm like, what is going to help me right now?
yeah.
And right now, the only thing that's really helping me is ChatGPT.
Mm,
ChatGPT, because ChatGPT can do everything pretty much.
mm,
It's not
mhm,
there. Okay, I shouldn't say it can do everything. It can't do like super granular use cases, but with the plugins, with the
mhm,
ChatGPT plugins, it's getting more powerful every day
yeah.
to where you can generate images in ChatGPT. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I'd
Yeah,
heard of it. Yeah, I'd heard of it.
you can do it via plugin,
Mhm,
and then you can generate tables and graphs, and
mhm.
you have specific use cases. You can learn languages. There's so many different use cases it can do, and I
Okay, so I guess I had a question which has been bothering me for the past couple
yeah.
of weeks. It's actually a pretty serious question.
Mm-mm,
I don't know why it spins off from ChatGPT conversation, but when people have a solution right in their face, like
mm,
right
mm,
in their face,
mm,
I'm just I'm wondering why it's so hard
mm.
to get to that solution. to know it's
mm,
there, to
mhm.
apply it, and and I just, I mean, I've found myself saying it'd be nice to have assistance with my business with SATA,
Right,
right?
right.
Um, and it's not quite assistance, but now it's direction. It was funny because 2 nights ago, Shanna, we were watching TV, we were watching Quantum Leap,
Mm,
and because it's like family time,
mhm,
and she fell asleep on the couch.
mm.
She didn't like falling asleep on the couch. So Quantum Leap is over because she wakes up, she's like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. What's
and it's
going on?
all it's
Yeah.
all uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, you need to move. Let's get you back
Yeah,
to the bed.
yeah.
And I thought about that, and she stopped in another room, fell asleep on that couch. And
Wow,
then
man.
and I was like, okay.
Fire.
I was like, okay, dogs, let's take the dogs out and stuff like that. And then got her up again, say, let's go. But then I was thinking, I was like, man, it'd be nice if I had somebody to kick me like that in SATA.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
yeah,
and I was like, there's probably a solution that
yep,
the viewers in the sky know about.
yep.
They know that this person right here is the solution.
Mhm.
But for me, it's so hard to see.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was thinking about, what if if Shanna hadn't had somebody to just kind of get her up and move her.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's how we all are. I feel like
Yeah,
we're all in some area of life,
absolutely.
at least most of us, looking for a solution to a long running problem. And the solution is probably right in our
It already
faces.
exists. Yeah.
Why
It's
can't we
closer
see
than
it?
you think.
Why
Yeah.
can't we? I'm not saying why can't we read the minds of the folks who could provide it, but man,
Right.
I've been seeing over the past couple of months so many cases where, like, bro, the fix to this is so obvious.
Yep.
It's right there, and I
Yep.
just, it boggles my mind. I find it just a little bit. The word's not disappointing,
Mm.
but a little bit unfortunate
Yeah,
that
for
people
sure.
are. I feel like in some of the biggest problems, many people are 90% of the way,
Yep.
but they'll never get to 91.
Yep.
And man, I
I
just
like
find that
that.
so disturbing.
Quote that.
Okay.
You're so right, man. And I think a bit because there's part of it is it seems too easy. That's
Mm,
part of it. It seems like because I think especially like from the US standpoint, we grow up in this kind of, you know, the Protestant values of the strife and the struggle, like you've
mhm,
got to struggle, you've got to strive to get to things, or at least that's the narrative that a lot of us are just we're raised on.
mhm,
And so now you have tools like AI and things like that, and it seems like, man, this is part of it. This isn't everything,
mhm.
but it seems just too easy. Like, shouldn't it take longer? Shouldn't it
Yeah,
be harder? Shouldn't it cost more? All I had to do was ask. All I had
yeah,
to do was
yeah.
do this.
My
And
my
yeah,
one, I'm not someone who thinks AI is going to kill the world. I really don't think so.
no, yeah,
But
me neither.
I think my one hesitancy, I don't know if that's the right word with it, is that it's making it easier for us to find solutions in our own worlds.
Mm-mm.
But we're further unable, or at least we haven't developed a product to help us attach more to other people.
Yeah.
And like, if I want to now automate something where I used to have to go to somebody else to,
Mm-hmm.
help me do it. Now I don't have to. I can just use the magic eraser or whatever. I don't have to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, give my camera to somebody and say, hey, could you take this picture? Um, and I think
Right.
the need to invest in your neighbor is even lower.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
just,
True.
and that's not necessarily negative, but
Mm.
it speaks to, where we get to the limits of our current training as humans.
Yeah. I
Our
agree.
training is still very much, you know, near ape training.
Yep.
We have our
Yep.
clicks,
Yep.
and
Social
other clicks be damned.
tribes. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our tribes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back to those, the welcoming committee at the Sweet Onion Festival. Their tribe served no purpose whatsoever. And
Mm-hmm.
when we were leaving, um, and there's a place for the political statement,
Right. Right.
but
The Sweet Onion
with the
Festival.
Sweet Onion Festival, I mean, you know,
No place is
there are
safe.
turtle races going on behind you. I mean,
Can't you see these turtle races, man?
yeah, you gonna shoot the turtles, dog?
What the hell?
You know, just the tribes. I think
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
with AI now we can kind of erase the tribes, and I don't know how healthy
Yeah.
that is.
Well, I also think that the AI, because I've heard this argument too many times, and it's not wrong. It's basically like, well, AI is going to train itself eventually on AI produced stuff because there's so many people using AI to create
Hmm.
stuff that
Yeah,
eventually newer models or model updates or
yeah.
whatever are going to have a significant amount eventually
Hmm.
of AI produced content. So AI
Yeah.
becomes this
I'm starting
this
to do some of that now
self-feeding
with
machine,
stable diffusion.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at ethnicities, really interesting research. Like with
Yeah.
nose shapes and things like that, you generate the fake people who will give you the prototype for certain kinds of people that you've
Right.
never seen because it has the whole
Yep.
data behind it. Um,
Yeah.
because I'm trying
Fake.
to look at differences in morphologies, right? Different eyes,
Mhm.
different nose, and stuff like that. But it generates these synthetic people, and then you can have it generate new images based on that. Cool plugins like heat
Right.
maps. There's a heat map plugin, dope,
Right.
which tells you what the model was looking at
Right.
in generating this. So it puts all this red around the nose and the eyes and whatever. And so if you told it to generate an Alaska native or something like that, it says, I was looking at this, looking at these features and everything else. And you're
Right.
like, ah, so this is what distinguishes an Alaska native from, say, a Caucasian person or whatever. But it's doing that with its own data. To your point,
Right.
yeah. I mean, the AI can train on its own set. I don't know about
Exactly. Yeah.
um, right now, I don't know about, the AI writing really, really serious versions of its own AI. We'll
Right.
get
Yeah.
there.
It will
We
get
will
there.
get there. I mean, you're a fool if you don't think so.
It will get
But
there. Yeah.
but I just you hope that the humans who get it started know
Yeah.
what they're doing. You
Yeah,
know.
and I think that's the concern. I think everybody that I've listened to, podcasts, experts, people I've seen on Twitter, everybody's in agreement. It won't be AI that gets us. It'll be a human with AI
Hmm.
that gets us.
Yeah.
If it gets us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's very true because you already see. I'm seeing more people. Like I sat in on an interesting webinar online last week. I happened to catch it, and it was about AI regulation.
Oh yeah, you totally need that.
And it
Yeah.
was the first serious thing outside of like a tweet or something or whatever. It was the first serious talk, like somebody thinking
Hmm.
toward regulation. And you could tell he wasn't an
Hmm.
AI tech,
Hmm.
utopian guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't that type of guy. He was like, his background seemed like it sounded like he was a lawyer or he
Hmm.
had a legal background. And he just sounded very government to me.
Hmm.
Like if he doesn't work for the government, that's his
Yeah.
background. I don't know. But he works for this company called Trustable.
Hmm.
And Trustable is a new company that helps AI, people working with AI and companies prepare for regulation. So
Mm.
what they
Interesting.
do
Interesting.
is, yeah, they're helping them document their training data. They're helping
Yes.
them
Yeah, this is totally needed.
They're helping them
Totally
stress
needed.
test their
Yes.
prompts to make sure there's
Yeah.
less bias and there's more
Yes.
uniform responses. Because, right now, if you ask ChatGPT a question and ask ChatGPT a question, we're going to get different answers.
Yes. Oh, and to
And
this point, so I
yeah,
work with generated art, and I
mm,
also, as you know, research the body. And
right.
so I've generated my fair share of pictures of people with no clothes there, because that's
Hmm.
part of what I do.
Yeah.
Morphology, body types. I'm working on that book, right? Book of contours. And so this, everybody knows this.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll tell you what, it is so easy to generate the wrong kind of image.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you tell it to, I mean, I literally tell it to put in a picture of a 20-year-old man.
Mm.
Sometimes I get a woman,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
sometimes they
Yeah.
don't end up being 20.
Right.
The first
Right.
time this happens to you, you're just like, pump your brakes.
Right.
And you're
Right.
like, I did not tell it to do that.
Right.
And
Right.
this is a known thing. Like when you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to the
For
place
sure.
for them where the models exist,
For sure.
they have in the negative prompts things that I do not want in my picture.
Exactly.
Some
Negative
of the
prompts.
first things that they put in there is like, I don't want any children. I
Mm.
don't want any stuff like that.
Right.
But
Right.
imagine trying to regulate this, right? Because this
Mm.
is a robot, frankly,
Right.
saying, "Oh, you
It's a black box. I mean, I hate to,
exactly,
put
exactly,
the cliche out there, but it's true. People don't know how the hell it works.
yeah,
So how you gonna get like? I mean, they
yeah,
know how. Okay, they know how it works, but they don't know how it gets to a specific outcome.
yeah."
That's the
And
problem.
you
Like you
don't
can't trace it
you have
back to
to
be
go
like,
prompt by prompt
right,
to kind of learn what not to tell it and what to tell it.
exactly. Yes.
And, I downloaded a model today. There were words for excluding, questionable content
Mm,
from languages I hadn't even heard of in
right.
this particular prompt. This person built in their model and in their
Hmm.
example said, these are the positive prompts. This is what I want to see in the picture. These are the
Hmm.
negative prompts. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Right. There are some words in there for like genres of things. And it's just imagine that this is unregulated.
Right. Right.
Or how do you mount a
Right.
defense or
Absolutely.
prosecute a case? Or,
Oh my
oh
God,
my
yeah. I
goodness,
think
you
from a
know what
case
I'm
perspective,
saying?
and I've been thinking about that. That's man, we got to do a whole another episode on this, but I've been thinking about that, like defensive AI. Like, how do
Mhm.
you like from the model perspective? Not I
Yeah.
think people think defense. They think like, okay, Terminator, like robots. It's okay.
Mhm.
You don't understand. The battle is with AI is often fought at the training data level
Yes.
because if it's
Yes,
not
it is.
trained on the task, it can't do it. It
Yes.
can't see it. And I
Yeah.
think that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's
Oh,
it's
you know
garbage in,
what?
garbage out.
It is, and it's also bias in.
It's
Way, way,
bias
way
in,
in.
bias out.
So
And
so
yes, yes.
so I've learned a couple of things, just kind of a prompt trade secret. If you're trying to
Mm,
generate AI, and especially generate with people, um, I
yeah,
found that the models that are currently available to us are obviously heavily trained on American. But if you
absolutely.
put in words like attractive or pretty or whatever, it's going
Mm,
to automatically do things with the face. It's going to make them white by default. It's going
yep,
to slim the
definitely. Yep,
nose. It's going to
yep.
do things. And it's like you have to take out opinion words of that
Yes.
sort, assessment words
Yeah,
of the person. And one never knew that they needed to do this
yeah.
because you use some of those opinion words in order to not generate other things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
And
tricky.
so
Yeah.
it's like, do we really socially say that? And we've been hearing this all the time. Like, if you're black, can you
Mm,
be beautiful? Okay, now look,
mm,
this is not a real question, but
right.
from an AI perspective,
Yeah.
try prompts and see what happens
Try
because
and get a black person. Or try and
it,
get a
yeah,
non-white person. That yeah, and
yeah,
dude, I came up with this so early because I was trying to generate people for Serious and Limnic. I was trying to generate
hmm
character models so I
hmm
could, have something to display for my podcast. And I was like, how am I going that was the first question I came up with.
hmm
How do I get this person to not be white?
yeah,
This is not a white character.
yeah,
And you're working with stable diffusion to where you can pretty much put in whatever you want. When you
hmm
get to like the commercial ones, even mid journey,
hmm
it gets real dicey. I've used a couple of other
yeah.
generators that you put in, you say, I want an
Y-
Asian person.
Dude, okay,
They,
you know the
they won't they
secret.
won't run it. They won't run it.
Oh, really? Because they
It won't
say,
run it because they're like, this is potentially offensive, blah, blah, blah.
oh, that,
I'm
yeah, that.
serious, dog.
Oh,
I'm like, it's
okay.
like that.
So
It's
yes, and
so
I
bullshit. I
props
hate that
to
shit.
OpenAI for doing that,
Well,
but
this isn't OpenAI. This is another one. This is
okay.
OpenAI. I haven't. Let's
Well,
be clear.
prompt,
Mid Journey. This wasn't Mid Journey either. Mid
mhm,
Journey is a little bit more like just open to their prompts.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it's like that to where you mention somebody's ethnicity
and it's
and it's
trying to
like,
lecture
oh,
you.
it's offensive. I'm like,
Yeah, I tried to get ChatGPT to give me a
what?
summary of different kinds of ethnicities, and it lectured me.
It
Um,
lecture. You see, it hit the
but
boundary, and it's like,
yeah,
God
and
damn,
I
like
and you
shit pissed me
have
off.
kind of ways to get around that. Obviously, there's always
Right.
ways to jailbreak things,
You can, yeah.
but I feel like for most folks who don't think about these things deeply, those safeties definitely help.
I
Um,
feel like you're right, definitely.
but
Most people aren't, like, using it like we are. That's
yeah,
very true.
yeah, but you're gonna have the markets where there are no such restrictions of any kind, just none.
Absolutely. They already
And
exist.
Yes.
These open
Oh yeah,
these open
you
source
know they do.
models.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
know they do.
Yeah.
But the secret I found to ethnicities, by the way, in Stable Diffusion, it was one parameter: training samples.
Mm,
This is just a trick. I swear to God, if you have it trained less than 30, you won't get a lot of the ethnicities. But
mm,
starting around 30, maybe 26, nah, I wouldn't recommend it. Starting around 30 training samples, you
mm,
will get an Ainu Japanese. I mean, you will get the Ainu looking like an Ainu.
mm.
And
Nice.
but if you said that on 20 samples, they'll be white.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with somebody being white, but when it's not what
Exactly,
you asked
exactly.
for,
But it's not what you're looking
yeah,
for. If you're looking to create a non-white character or a non-white image or
yeah,
whatever, then I should be able to get one without going through this negative prompts and all this stuff.
yeah, no, you don't
This
have
is
to do
the
all that.
and this is the, to take it back to, things like companies like Trustable. These is a
Yeah,
new class of
yeah.
AI surrounding AI adjacent businesses that we're going to
Mhm.
start seeing more
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
of
And that's the future, by the way. People are
that
worried
is
about losing their
definitely.
jobs. These are new jobs.
Yeah, these are new
It's part
jobs.
of the
There
package.
will
Yeah.
be AI, I don't know what they call them, AI inspectors
Hmm.
or whatever, something like that,
Yeah.
AI
I
certification
I set the
people.
training, and these were the kinds of things you would need to document. I set the
Absolutely. Yeah.
training samples at 30, and the second most important that I've found is set the CFG to 10.5, because CFG is, I don't know what it stands for, but
Mm,
the default is 7. It says train on what the model knows,
right.
averaged with what I told it to train on.
Right.
A higher CFG says, no, I really want you to train on what I told you. Right.
Right.
And I find that I consistently have to set the CFG. I don't put it all the way to the max, which is something ridiculous like 28.
Right.
Because then you get like fantasy worlds,
Yeah. Yeah.
LSD images, and
Yeah.
all kinds of
Crazy.
colorful edges and stuff, like you're on some kind
Yeah.
of psychedelic thing. But 10.5 as CFG, training samples at 30, you'll get your ethnicities.
Right.
And you'll get it to kind of start looking at what you told the prompt. And that's important, because if you don't do that, it'll give you things that you don't want.
Right. Right.
But oh my goodness,
Yeah,
regulation is
we could
needed.
talk a lot about this. Yeah, and I feel like there's gonna be more conversations. I want to talk more about it. I'm
Hmm.
definitely looking into it because this is coming fast because
Hmm.
AI has been in the it's June now.
Hmm.
And in the last 3 months, it hasn't even been 6 months. In the last 3 months, Apple, Google, Facebook,
Hmm.
all the major players
Hmm.
are already heavy into AI.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's easy to stand up. You just,
it's so easy.
and some of the models are already running around, for
I've seen
free.
it popping up everywhere in
Hmm.
every piece of software that I use.
Yeah.
Most major ones, they have added an AI component in the last three
Hmm.
months. Let
Yeah.
that sink in if you're listening
Zoom,
to this.
right? Yeah, yeah. Zoom
Zoom,
has.
all of them.
Yeah.
Jetpack,
Hmm.
WordPress.
Yep.
I mean, whatever. If you're not aware of this stuff, I'm gonna tell you right now, you need to start experimenting. And I got the perfect place to start. It's a great, great segue. Um, I created a course last week called Intro to ChatGPT, AI amateur to amazing. And what this course
Hmm.
is a 5-day email course, and it's going to send emails right to your inbox. And it covers all of the basics of ChatGPT. If you've been listening to this and been like, and you've heard about ChatGPT, I feel like most people have heard of it. But did
Hmm.
you know that as of last month, 2 weeks ago, only 14% of people have tried ChatGPT, have used it? That's not how many people have heard of it. I feel like everybody's probably heard of it, but used it
Hmm.
14%. Maybe it's a little bit more now. Maybe it's like 20%. But that's just use. That's not like actually doing something with it. And trust me,
Hmm.
it takes a while because this is a brand new technology. Remember
Yeah.
the first time you opened your smartphone? If you are our age and older, like you pushing 40, you 40 plus. Remember the first time you opened your smartphone and you were like, what the hell is this?
Uh-huh.
Remember the first time you got online? What the hell is this?
Uh-huh.
This should be another what the hell is this moment
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because it requires a paradigm shift in thinking of what it can do. because I swear, like people, when they first encounter it, they see it as a kind of a single use thing. Like, oh, you can write essays with it. That's what people hear. You can cheat on tests. This is, the famous examples.
Yeah.
It can do that and so much more.
Yeah, it can. It can.
And so my course is designed to give you the basics, the very fundamentals to get you using it in a structured, sequential manner instead of just saying, here's this thing that can do anything,
Yeah.
do something with it. That's super intimidating. I just happened to just keep going with it, but I know most people don't have that kind of time, and you don't want to do that. You don't have time to experiment. You need to know if it works or not. And I feel
Mhm.
that. So in order to get up to speed real quick in less than a week, you can do that with this course. So I'm gonna put a
Mm.
link to the course in the show notes. You can go check it out, or you can just look it up, intro to ChatGPT course.com, and you'll find the form and you can check it out and see if it's for you. But I just wanted to make something that was non-technical, because everything I see, most things I see on AI
Mm.
Twitter are very technical. They're dev first. Go to
Yeah.
Hugging Face, go to GitHub.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I see you rolling your eyes, man. And some of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just
Yeah.
speaking a foreign language. Yeah, there's not a lot of stuff out there that's approachable to this for people who are just non-technical, or people
Yeah.
just, even if you're not non-technical, you just don't have time to go
Mhm.
and experiment with it. I understand that.
Yeah.
So here's a solution to where it's right to you. I'm gonna give it straight to you. Hopefully it helps. Um, but it's been a little bit over an hour, so I'm gonna cut this episode, man. Bro, 4 months is too long.
It is. It is. It's really been 4 months
Since we were, I
since we
looked
did
at
our last one?
since we did our last one,
Wow. Okay, yeah,
February.
that is too long. What were we doing?
You were at the Sweet Onion Festival. I was just playing with ChatGPT, and you were shredding papers. You were in a paper storm.
I was. I
You were in a
was.
man.
Oh,
That's not bad for your lungs. Your lungs is spotted up with papers now. You take an X, like, damn, what's all that? That's paper.
yeah. It's a paper.
Oh, paper lung. All right, y'all. This has been Two Brothers Talking. I might end. Okay, keep listening after. I might
Okay.
end with a special something after I cut this in post production. But check us out, Two Brothers Talking.
Uh,
I love doing this podcast. I love talking to my brother. Especially these different things we're working on. I feel like
yeah,
every
yeah.
time we talk, it's levels, man.
Yeah, we're leveling up even more. I'm
Yeah,
sure you can
yeah, for
tell.
sure.
Yeah.
And there's so many things I didn't get a chance to talk about that we can talk about offline.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man, it's the game is changing rapidly, and
Mhm.
these are the tools. And maybe you're one of those rolling your eyes when you hear AI, like, oh, not again, ChatGPT, blah blah blah. There's
Uh,
a reason people keep talking about it, y'all. You need to
yeah.
stop rolling your eyes, and you need to look into it and try
Yeah,
it.
and Keith will tell you, I'm not an early adopter.
Yeah,
I don't believe
Ajani
in
usually
things.
be waiting on the sidelines. He
I don't
be
believe in
like,
things. But
but
this,
he's
yeah,
already
this is happening.
this is already
Yeah.
in it. So I'm also offering consulting for this, for helping AI, because I realized, like, I sat at it was the last day of school, and I sat at a table with a bunch of other teachers, and I was like the AI expert at the
Mm,
table. Everybody was like, well, what is this? They're using it to cheat on their exams. And I was like, let me tell you,
yeah. It's
let me tell you.
they've been able to cheat on exams for a decade though. It's like if you
I think, but that's what I was saying. Like, people
yeah,
see this as a single
yeah,
thing. It's like it's way more than that.
yeah.
So anyway, bottom line is, do some reading on it, try it out, and even if you don't use my course, just go on there. It's free to try, y'all. Like, and the free version is good. Like, it's not one of those things to where you had to pay to actually get use out of the damn thing. No, like, you could go on there right now and you could start just seeing it work its magic. I mean,
Mm, mhm.
it's pretty insane what it can do. All right. So I'm Keith Hayden. You can find me on my website, keithhayden.net. Also on Twitter at KH_author. LinkedIn as well. I'm there. That's my main one. And Johnny, where can they find you on this podcast? You
On
already
this
found him.
podcast. That's it. There you go.
He's there. No, if you want to get a hold of Ajani, just go through me and
Yeah,
I'll send it to him.
that is actually how it works.
All right, y'all. This has been Two Brothers Talking, and have a great day. Hopefully it won't be another 4 months.
Yeah, yeah. All right, see ya.
All right. See ya.